before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button to support my channel. Alright, let me tell you a terrifying paranormal experience that happened to me and my friends during a camping trip. After hearing this story, you'll think twice before trusting people you barely know. Because, believe me, some people aren't who they seem. They'll act exactly the way you want them to, until they get what they want from you. So, let's begin. My name is Ashley. I was born and raised in Chicago. I'm my parents' only child. My best friend, Olivia, is originally from a small town in Montana, but she moved here for college and to chase her dreams. Beth and Naomi are both from Chicago and have been best friends since they were little. They're very similar, calm, grounded, and pretty mature for their age. The four of us got really close. We'd meet up at least twice a week, hang out, talk, and vent about life. One day, we realized we hadn't done anything different in a while. It was always the same cafes, same routines. Then Naomi said, "What if we go camping? You know, like, in the woods, somewhere far." Beth immediately hesitated. "I don't know. Going into the woods at night without someone experienced seems risky. We'd need someone who knows the area, a guide or something." Then Olivia chimed in. "Actually, some of my cousins went on a trip recently with a guide. I don't know him personally, but I could ask around." We said, "Sure, check and let us know." 2 days later, she called. "Okay, so my cousin's guide isn't working right now, but guess what? The guy who lives in the apartment below us, Trevor, apparently, has been doing this for years. He said he could take us this weekend if we're up for it." Of course, we were like, "Wait, can we trust this guy?" Olivia said, "Yeah, his mom's super sweet. I've met her a bunch of times, and there's even gonna be another girl coming with us, so it won't just be us four." After some back and forth, we said yes. Olivia handled everything. Trevor even asked for a payment per person, and even though it felt a bit steep, we figured it'd be worth the experience. That Saturday, we all met in front of Olivia's building. Trevor was supposed to pick us up there, and then he came out, tall, lanky, blonde, pale green eyes, weird smile. He walked over and said, "You must be Olivia's friends." We nodded. "Don't worry, she's on her way down. You girls are gonna have the time of your lives," he said, flashing a grin that didn't sit right with any of us. As soon as he walked away to make a phone call, I turned to the girls and said, "There's something off about him." A few minutes later, Olivia showed up, all bubbly and cheerful as usual, with her backpack on. She joked around, trying to lighten the mood, but honestly, I couldn't shake that weird gut feeling. Trevor came back and said, "Wait here, I'll go get the car, be right back." Once he left, we asked Olivia again, "Are you sure he's cool?" She laughed. "Yeah, his name's Trevor Morgan. He's 39. He and his mom are both professors. He's totally harmless, I promise." 10 minutes later, Trevor pulled up in this old, beat-up van. It looked like it barely ran. Beth leaned in to whisper, "I don't want to do this. Let's ask for our money back." Naomi agreed. I felt the same, but Olivia was already halfway inside the van, and at that point, we didn't really have a choice. We all got into the van. Trevor drove for a while, and as we left the city behind, the roads got narrower, the trees thicker, and everything around us got quieter. After a while, the van stopped again. Another girl got in. She was around 18, blonde, really pretty, but something about her was off. She barely said a word, just sat there, stiff and quiet. Everyone felt it. We continued driving. The deeper we went, the more isolated it felt. The trees started blocking out the sky. I whispered to Naomi, "No one would even hear us scream out here, Sierra." She just sat there watching us. Every time we whispered something, she'd slightly tilt her head like she was eavesdropping. But Olivia, of course, she was already chatting with her like they were besties. Finally, the van stopped. Trevor turned back and said, "All right, girls, we're here." We stepped out and froze. It was beautiful, like breathtakingly beautiful. Trees glowing in the sunlight, the smell of fresh pine. It felt like another world. We followed Trevor down a narrow path. A few minutes later, we reached a clearing with 3 tents already set up. Trevor said, "I put these up yesterday. I usually bring groups out once a week, teach them about nature, camping skills, all that." He didn't seem as creepy when he talked like that. Actually, for a moment, we thought we'd misjudged him. We unpacked, set up our stuff, explored the area, and took tons of pictures. Everything looked peaceful. As the sun went down, we returned to camp. Trevor had already lit a fire and started heating up some homemade food he'd brought. We had packed canned stuff, but this smelled 100 times better. We all sat by the fire, eating, talking, laughing. Trevor shared cool nature facts like how to read moss on trees, how to keep bears away. Honestly, it was turning out to be a nice trip. After dinner, we split up into tents. There were 3, so it was me, Olivia, and Sierra in one. Beth and Naomi took the second. Trevor had the small one alone. We all got into our tents, but I couldn't sleep. Sierra started talking randomly. She said it was her first time camping. Batchy was a little nervous, but excited. But even when she talked, there was something strange about her. Whenever Olivia or I spoke, Sierra didn't react. She just stared, like hard. You know that creepy, side-eye glare that makes your skin crawl. That was Sierra's default expression. But I kept reminding myself, I misjudged Trevor. Maybe I'm doing the same with her. Eventually, Olivia passed out. I turned away, trying to fall asleep, but something didn't feel right. So I turned back around to face them, and that's when I saw it. Sierra was sitting up, staring directly at me. Her eyes were glowing in the dark. I wanted to say, "Why are you awake?" But I couldn't. Something inside me screamed, "That's not Sierra. I believe in things that aren't from this world." I tried to calm myself, thinking I was overreacting. So I closed my eyes and started praying quietly. And just as I did, Sierra slowly turned her head and looked me dead in the eye. My heart was racing. I clenched my eyes shut. Then I heard her, moving, shuffling, fidgeting with something. I kept praying, "Please God, please just let the night pass." Suddenly, I heard Olivia's voice. "Ashley, are you crying?" I opened my eyes. She was kneeling over me. I said, "No, I'm not crying. I wasn't even asleep." She looked confused. "You were? You were crying in your sleep? That's what woke us up?" Then I looked over. Sierra was still staring, cold, unblinking. I forced a smile. Weird. Maybe I had a bad dream or something. "I'm fine." We all tried to sleep again. I turned away and closed my eyes tight, and I prayed. The whole damn night. Morning came, and thank God, we made it through the night. Trevor woke us up early. "Rise and shine, girls. Time for a nature walk," he said, way too energetic for that hour. We crawled out of the tent, half asleep. Trevor already had his backpack on, looking like he'd been up for hours. Beth and Naomi looked off, like they hadn't slept well either. We started walking through the woods. Trevor kept talking, naming trees, explaining random forest stuff, but I couldn't focus. My mind was stuck on Sierra. I walked up to Naomi and Beth. "How did you guys sleep?" I asked. Naomi shrugged. "Not great, but what do you expect? It's a tent in the middle of nowhere." Then Trevor turned around and said, "Girls, come look at this tree. This one's over 300 years old," and launched into another monologue. None of us were listening. When we got back to camp, Trevor brought out more food. Homemade again. It looked good, but my stomach was in knots. I couldn't eat. After breakfast, he said, "You've got a couple hours. Chill out, have fun. Then we'll go check out a waterfall nearby." We tried to loosen up, played some games, took more photos. Except, Sierra refused to be in any. Every time someone pulled out a phone, she'd walk away, turn her back, or hide. She hadn't been in a single photo since we got there, and not once had she smiled, or laughed, or even spoken without being asked something. I watched her for a while, and I realized she wasn't with us. She was watching us. That night, we went to the waterfall. It was stunning, like something out of a fantasy movie. The water sparkled, the sound was calming. Trevor kept explaining things about erosion and wildlife. He seemed almost normal, but no matter what he said, something didn't sit right. We headed back as the sun started to go down. When we got to camp, something was wrong. Everything was a mess. Backpacks knocked over, our blankets tossed around. What the hell happened here? I asked. Trevor walked over casually. Relax. Probably just raccoons. I'll build the fire. They won't come near us once there's light. He smiled like nothing had happened. He brought more food, but this time, I couldn't even look at it. I'm good, I said. I'll eat later, Trevor insisted. You have to eat something. You'll need energy. His tone was firmer. I nodded just to make him stop talking. Took the plate. Didn't touch it. We all sat around the fire. Beth and Naomi nibbled at their food, but Sierra, she devoured hers. Like she hadn't eaten in days, and the entire time, she watched us. I snapped. What is your problem? I said. You keep staring. You don't talk. You don't smile. You just sit there and watch us like we're prey or something. Everyone went silent. Sierra blinked. I wasn't staring at you. Yeah, you were, I said. You have been since we got here. It's creepy, and I'm sick of it. Trevor stood up. Ashley, calm down. Sierra's not like that. You're probably just tired. But I was boiling over. She's watching us. She's hiding something, and I'm done pretending I don't see it. Sierra looked down and slowly placed her plate on the ground. Then, she stood up and walked away, straight into Beth and Naomi's tent. I turned to Trevor. Don't try to defend her. You don't even know her. Trevor frowned. Of course I do. She's been on this trip with me before. She's helped me with other groups. And that's when I froze. Because earlier, Sierra told us this was her first time camping. She lied. But why? Something was seriously wrong. And I didn't care what Trevor said. Sierra was not sleeping in our tent that night. I stormed over to their tent, pulled the flap open, and shouted, "Get out. Go sleep somewhere else." She didn't argue. She just walked out, staring at me the whole time, and went into Beth and Naomi's tent. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She didn't say a word. That silence terrified me more than any scream ever could. That night, I couldn't sleep at all. I was still fuming about Sierra, and my brain just wouldn't shut off. Olivia had already fallen asleep. Her soft breathing filled the tent. I tossed and turned, staring at the nylon ceiling above me. My hands were clenched. My heart was racing, and then I heard it. Footsteps, slow, crunching the leaves right outside our tent. I froze. It had to be one of the girls, right? But then the steps stopped. Right outside our tent, whoever it was, just stood there. I held my breath. After a few seconds, the steps moved away. I let out a shaky exhale. Then, silence. But just when I started to relax, more footsteps, this time faster, erratic, like someone was running. And then, giggling, a high-pitched, childlike giggle. I shot up. That was not one of the girls. I had enough. I grabbed my flashlight and unzipped the tent. Cold air hit my face as I stepped out. No one. I panned the flashlight around. Trees, shadows, nothing. Then I looked over at the fire pit. The fire was dying out. I walked toward it slowly, my boots crunching the gravel. I reached my hands out to warm them up, and then I heard breathing right behind me. It wasn't Olivia. It wasn't any of the girls. I turned around fast. Nothing. but I swear to God, something was there. I could feel it, like it was inches from my face. I started praying in my head, just trying to stay calm, and then the fire erupted. The flames suddenly shot up like someone had poured gasoline on them, and inside the fire, a face appeared, bloated gray, hollow eyes, mouth wide open, whispering something I couldn't understand. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. It felt like my soul froze. The fire hissed and crackled like it was alive. I stumbled back, tripping over my own feet, and bolted toward the tent. I shook Olivia awake. Wake up. Something's wrong. Something's really, really wrong. She sat up, confused. What happened? Are you okay? I started rambling. Everything, the footsteps, the fire, the face. Olivia blinked. Are you sure you weren't dreaming? No, I snapped. Come outside. I'll show you. We stepped out together. Everything looked normal again. The fire was low. The woods were silent. No footsteps. No faces. Olivia said gently, "See? There's nothing here." We turned to go back to the tent, and that's when I saw it. A tall figure, standing between the trees, not far from us. I pointed. Do you see that? She gasped. Oh my God. We both ran, straight to Beth and Naomi's tent. I threw open the flap. Sierra was inside, just sitting there, staring at Beth and Naomi as they slept. That was it. I lost it. I yanked her by the arm, dragged her out of the tent, and slapped her. What the hell are you? Why are you doing this? She didn't fight back. She didn't scream. She just sat there on the ground, looking up at me with those cold, dead eyes. The others pulled me away, trying to calm me down. I was shaking. My hands wouldn't stop trembling. She's behind all of this, I said. The nightmares, the noises, everything. Then Trevor showed up. What's going on here? I turned to him. Ask her. Ask Sierra what she's really doing here. He looked at Sierra. Sierra, you okay? Are they right? Have you been involved in something? She didn't answer, just shook her head slightly and looked away. Trevor frowned. All right, girls, go back to your tents. I'll talk to her. I wanted to stay, to listen, to hear what she'd say. But Olivia grabbed my arm and said, Please, Ashley, let it go, just for tonight. I didn't want to, but I did, and that decision was a mistake. A few minutes after we crawled back into the tent, a scream ripped through the woods. Not just any scream, it was raw, terrified, echoing off every tree. We shot up. Trevor was gone. Sierra was gone. I grabbed my flashlight and bolted outside. The others followed. We called out their names, looked around, but nothing, just silence. Then we spotted it. Blood, not a lot, just a few drops, leading into the trees. We need to call someone, I said, pulling out my phone. No service. Of course. We can't just stand here, Naomi said. But we can't go far either, Beth added. And then, another scream. Closer. Naomi looked at me. I'm going, with or without you. I'm coming, I said. Beth and Olivia stayed behind, too scared to move. Naomi and I followed the sound. Every step felt heavier. The trees got thicker, the air colder, and then we saw it. Sierra, hanging from a tree, upside down. Her body was mangled, twisted in ways that aren't humanly possible. Arms and legs bent backward, her face pale and smiling. My legs gave out. Naomi pulled me back. We turned and ran. We didn't stop, not until we saw light up ahead. A small cabin appeared in a clearing. We ran to the door, knocked hard. No answer. We pushed the door open. It was empty, but lived in. There were bags, clothes, women's purses, passports, IDs, dozens of them, and photos. Everywhere. One album sat open on the table. I picked it up. Trevor, smiling with a woman and child. At first they looked happy, but As we flipped through the pages, something changed. The smiles faded, the eyes darkened, skin grew pale. By the end, they looked like corpses, and in the corner of the last photo, a shadow, thin, tall, watching. Naomi slammed the album shut. We had to get out.
Naomi and I ran. We didn't look back, just ran. Branches smacked our faces. The woods seemed endless, but finally we found a path, an actual road. We froze, relieved, exhausted. "Look," Naomi pointed. Headlights. Car was coming. We waved our arms like crazy. The car stopped. Two guys inside stared at us like they'd seen ghosts. We were covered in dirt, scratches, probably blood. One of them rolled down the window. "You okay?" "No," I said, shaking. "Please help us." They were hesitant, but when we begged to call the cops, they handed over a phone. No signal. Of course. I looked at them. "At least write down your license plate. If something happens to us, someone has to know." They nodded. We climbed in, but as we pulled away from the woods, I looked back and saw her, Sierra, standing between the trees, covered in blood and waving. "De Liborso." Back at the station, we told everything. All of it. They looked at us like we were insane until we gave them Trevor's name, his address, his mother's info. They went silent. Later, an officer told us, "Trevor's been missing for months. His mom says she hasn't seen him at all." We were stunned. We had just been with him. Alive, right? They investigated the forest. Found nothing. No Sierra, no bodies, no cabin. Nothing. Like it never happened. But we knew what we saw. We lived it. De Liborso. Weeks passed. I couldn't sleep. None of us could. So we went to a local priest, showed him the photo album we took from the cabin. He stared at it for a long time, then said, "This man, he made a deal. He lost his family and tried to bring them back. But to keep them close, he needed other souls. He fed them." "Fed them what?" I asked. "People like you." The blood drained from my face. Sierra might have been one of them. Or not human at all. Just something sent to lead victims in. We sat in silence. He handed each of us a written prayer. "Keep this with you. And don't ever follow a stranger into the woods again." He was right. If we hadn't trusted Olivia's neighbor, we might not have survived. Life went back to normal. Kind of. We tried, we really did. School, work, family. But nothing felt normal anymore. Because no matter where I was, no matter what I was doing, she was still there. In my head. In my dreams. Behind every dark hallway. Sierra. Sometimes I'd see her in the corner of my eye just for a second. And that damn smile. De Liborso. We never found out who or what she was. The police said there was no record of her. No school, no family, not even a birth certificate. Like she never existed. But she did. We saw her. We heard her laugh. We saw her eat. We saw her hang from a tree. Still, somehow, she was waving at us. De Liborso. The forest was searched for weeks. They found nothing. Not even the spot where Sierra had died. Not the blood. Not the cabin. Not the altar. Not the circle. Gone. Like it all vanished the second we left. De Liborso. I still have that album. I keep it hidden in a locked box under my bed. But sometimes, I swear I hear it open. And when I do, I dream. In the dream, I'm standing in the woods. Alone. There's no sound. No birds. No wind. Just her voice. It's not over. I turn around and there she is. Her eyes black. Her skin pale. Her mouth smiling. And I know Trevor isn't gone. And Sierra? She's still waiting. For the next group. The next fire. The next scream. So if someone you barely know ever invites you on a harmless little trip, don't go. Not unless you're ready to never come back.